Hello everyone, welcome to our next lecture where we will be using a potentiometer to control the brightness of the LED. So I'm just here on our previous circuit diagram where we actually control the brightness of an LED using a normal variable with the help of the PWM feature, and how we turn the brightness from 0 to 255, basically from off to always on, and then from on to off. So again, we'll be using the PWM feature, that is basically the analog write function that we just used. So for that, we will have to connect our LED to the digital pins 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 or 11. So we've connected it to pin number 9. We'll also be connecting a potentiometer to one of the analog channels. And what we're going to be doing is, so a potentiometer will give us a value between 0 and 1023, and we require a value between 0 and 255. So we will be using a map function which is available on the Arduino IDE, where basically the scale of 0 to 1023 will be mapped to a scale of 0 to 255. So basically the value that we will be getting from the potentiometer can be converted to a scale of 0 to 255, and that is how we will control the LED using the analog write function. So let's get started with the code again. So some parts of the code still stay the same, which are of course the setup functions at least, and now we will be using the variable delta to store the value of the potentiometer that we are getting, the equivalent integer value of the potentiometer. So first, for that I will write delta is equal to analog read, and before that actually we need to connect the potentiometer to Arduino Uno, and let's say we connect it to the channel A0. So let me first bring the potentiometer, let's say here. So we can, this is, as you know, the VCC pin, so this goes to 5 volt, and let me quickly clear the circuit and make this wire color as red. Now this will be going to ground, and the color for this wire will be black, as that is the convention. And let me just clean this wire as well. So with this out of the way, we'll be connecting our output pin to A0, and let's make the color for this to be, let's say, blue. And just clean this up again. So this looks good, and of course we could have used the breadboard and maybe connected the ground over here and used the same ground, but that is something that we do when we have a lot of external peripherals and not available ground pins on the Arduino. So now let's get back to the code. So in the code section, we'll be writing delta is equal to analog read and A0, where our potentiometer is connected. Now we will be creating another variable which will basically be used to store the mapped value, that is from 0 to 1023 we are converting the value to a scale of 0 to 255. So the value that we will be converting with the help of the map function will be stored in this variable. So let's name that variable as int a, and we will be writing delta is equal to analog read A0 and a is equal to map. So this is the map function. We will be writing the variable delta, we will be writing the current scale, that is 0 and 1023, and we will be writing the scale where we want to convert it, so 0 to 255. Now what we will be doing is we are going to basically use the analog write function to control the brightness of the LED. So we'll write analog write 9 and A. We will also be giving this code a delay function after this, for so that we can actually see how the brightness of the LED changes. So we'll be giving a delay function of say 100 milliseconds, and moreover it is also required for the proper functioning of the potentiometer to get meaningful values. And let's now go to the simulation. So let me just quickly start the simulation, and now that I have started, so right now the potentiometer is at its maximum value, right? So as I decrease this, you will notice how the LED is actually turning off. And that is what happened, right? Let me give you a close-up look as well. So here we are in a bit closed up situation. So as I increase the value of the potentiometer, you will notice how the LED brightness is also increasing. And now it is at full brightness over here. And now slowly as I decrease the value of the potentiometer that's coming to the Arduino Uno, the brightness is also decreasing. This is how we actually use the potentiometer to control the brightness of an LED. And we can also use the potentiometer to control the brightness of an LCD in the future if we come across a program or a example where we are interfacing a 16:2 LCD. So that is the entirety of the code and the simulation that we have just seen over here. And with this we come to the end of our section where we have discussed ATC programming, the analog read and write function, and the PWM feature, which is available on the Arduino Uno in the form of 6 pins. So please do remember these pins. They are digital pin numbers 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. Because if we interface it with some other pin, let's say pin number 2, this feature will not work as they do not have PWM functionality.